Recent Intel flagship outings are sure hellishly hot. But do you remember the original Intel heater, the Prescott family of Pentium 4 processors? We sure do. Let's see how it fits in our 2004 mid-range gaming PC build. We'll start our parts breakdown with the one we already mentioned. Intel Pentium 4 3.0 GHz hyper-threading processor from the Prescott family. Sporting at the time rich 1 MB of L2 cache, but at a hefty 89 watt TDP, its package temperature is stated to be 70 degrees Celsius. We'll use this brick cooler to keep its temperature in check. To house it, we have this Gigabyte GA-8IG1000-G motherboard with socket 478. It's a really nice board with Intel's 865G chipset. While PCI Express was already available in 2004, this motherboard has AGP, which is more in line with our more budget-oriented build. 4 DDR slots are more than we need, since our 32-bit system is limited to less than 4 GB of memory. We'll populate it with 2 sticks of Kingston ValueRAM 1 GB DDR at 400 MHz. We could have proceeded with a total of 1 GB, but we'd feel the need to upgrade soon enough, and it wouldn't be much of an investment from the get-go. To fulfill our gaming needs, we use nVidia GeForce 6800 AGP. We were considering 6600 AGP, but we came across this absolute beast, which was somewhat more expensive. Cut-down version of 6800 Ultra with the same NV40 chip. Its sheer power and affordability made it the best buy graphics card, similar to how the 8800 GT will be a few years later. For storage, we have this Maxtor DiamondMax 80GB drive. It's in good health and will have enough room for all of our games, initially. It operates quietly and the system was running stable on it, albeit a bit slow. For testing with Windows 7, we'll use an HDD of similar age to that OS. Seagate Barracuda 7200 250 GB. Consider it as an upgrade that comes 5 years later. We'll power this setup with a period-authentic Chieftec 350-watt power supply. Usually, we use newer PSUs, but this one is in a pretty good state despite its age, so we're fine with this one. This time, we will not use one of our signature makeshift test benches, but a case. And that's about all that can be said about it, since it's no trills cheap as hell mid-aughts ATX case. It has enough ventilation for the CPU cooler to do its job, so airflow will not be a problem. To plug a hole in its front, and to ease installation of the OS and applications, we'll add this DVD-RV drive. It's much newer than the rest of the build, and we intend to replace it with a DVD drive from that era, as soon as we have it working. And that's why we are building this one in a case. Windows XP machine with these specs is compatible with such a wide range of games and applications. So we want to keep it around to play any game whenever a teeth of nostalgia bite us. Let's recap the parts list we will use in this build. Other than adding one more HDD, we will not upgrade this machine. With the socket that was soon to be deprecated, a 32-bit system and an AGP slot, there is not much room for upgrades either way. Let's build this computer, and for the very first time on this channel, in a case. We'll route the cables, so we can organize them better. The unwritten rule is not to close the side panel before you make sure that your PC is working, but we feel lucky. Our hunch was spot on, as our fortune is grand this day. The PC works. Just ignore the debugging noises in the background. After dealing with multiple cables not being plugged all the way through, we proceeded to set up our system software. For our operating system of choice, we have chosen Windows XP. At first, we went with Service Pack 1, but soon enough we noticed some performance issues and had to upgrade to Service Pack 2, which was quite fittingly released in 2004. We'll start our benchmarks overview with the first Call of Duty game. This is one of the games that we ran on both Service Pack 1 and Service Pack 2. Here you can observe the difference. Besides occasional frame drop, which was more prominent in Service Pack 1, the game worked flawlessly. Other than running our usual benchmark games, we also tested how some games worked. The final entry of Legacy of Kain Pentology, Defiance, also worked without a hitch. Kain sucks blood, Brazil sucks souls, but performance doesn't suck at all. It's no surprise that the first Sacred game works like a charm. Want to see an ARPG with a good open world? It's a bit dated, but has a lot of charm. Give it a shot. Let's travel far away to a tropical island, find a suitable corner, and cry. Joke, of course, since other than the 1080p very high preset, Far Cry worked great on this machine. You can also see how much difference the Service Pack update made here, especially on the high preset. If you are afraid of how well our machine works with the next game, do not fear. It works great on the minimum and medium presets and is very playable on the latter. While minimum gets us to magical 100, image quality makes visibility in the game terrible. Either way, this is a good performance on this quite demanding game. Now let's shake things up with our new addition to game benchmarks, Quake IV. It works amazingly on all presets up until the ultimate quality preset. The results are from running the built-in multiplayer demo, but let us assure you that the performance holds up in the campaign as well. Here you can see some footage. One more game that we just tested is the Tomb Raider Legend. The second game from Crystal Dynamics on this list. Can you guess the first one? Their legacy is something to behold. The game works well until you experience a hiccup, which happens quite often. Fraps declined to give us exact performance, but it is mostly playable. Oblivion performance, which is usually quite teetering, is quite stable. While stable, it isn't that good. It is playable on the medium preset, but not comfortable. Which is expected, since Oblivion was considered to be something like Crysis before, well, Crysis, yes. As you can see, the game is somewhat playable on the very low preset. We're yet to see a good performance with an AGP card. Tomb Raider Underworld is named to show how low can our performance go. As you can see from the gameplay capture, it takes a good amount of masochism to play this. It gets quite rocky from here. We've tried some newer games to see how far could you go with such a machine. Most of these are lightweight, but show that a PC like this one can be useful a bit longer. King's Bounty: The Legend. Torchlight. Dragon Age Origins. Considering the quality and depth this one shows, this franchise surely has a lot of potential, right? Legend of Grimrock. Torchlight II. Our motherboard serves us well, with a few caveats. The end-of-life CPU socket prevents us from drop-in upgrades, which is a bit of a shame. We can add more memory, but with other limiting factors it wouldn't help much. Surprisingly, our CPU didn't run that hot, 60-something degrees at most. Perhaps we became numb to our CPUs reaching the average temperature of the sun, and now Prescott is not so hot anymore. The performance leaves us wanting a bit more, but at the price it was sold at, it was a good deal. Maybe something from AMD would give us a bit more. Hard drives work, but the load times are killing us, so we might replace them in the future. All things considered, our graphics card didn't age as well as we expected. Pixel Shader 3 gave it legs to be able to at least run games for many years to come. It did run nice and cool, even without cracking its fan speed to the max. Stability is nice to have here, as we intend to have this PC running in our attic at any time. Overall, this is one nice machine, and a fine investment back in 2004. Armed with Windows XP, it can run many games from the 90s up until Legend of Grimrock. We'll be able to play any of those games in our downtime, once the summer heat dies down. It's going to be a nice addition to our attic. For us and this PC, fun just started. We hope this was a fun experience for you as well. See you around. G